Hola, hoy estoy muy contento, muy nervioso y muy feliz a la vez porque tengo a Gary Vaynerchuk y voy a cambiar al inglés para que lo podamos entender todos. I think Gary is the most successful video. I don't know if you're a blogger, but I think it's the one who put video first and the most successful story, and I'm very happy to have it here. And I think he doesn't need any introduction, but I let him.
Thank you. I'm very sure that 99% of the people watching this don't know who I am, so I just want to say hello. I'm sorry, you know, his English is much better than my Spanish, so I apologize, but I'm very happy to be here. That's very kind words. I'm very humbled. I'm just as happy to be with you as me. I just got to see a preview of what you guys watch all the time. It is remarkable. I promise you, when you go watch what I do, it's not as pretty, it's not as well done. It's quite amazing. Congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we are going to taste some wines, and we are going to do it blindly. We don't know
double blindly
what kind of wines they are. I know the regions, but he doesn't, and we're going to play.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to taste the wines, and you know, I'm sure these are all from California, using my common sense. And I think what would be fun is for us to each individual, we'll rank them 1, 2, and 3, and then unveil and see which is the best one. But I'll give comments about the wines along the way.
Okay. Perfect.
How do you want to taste? It doesn't really matter?
No.
Let's taste the one in the middle.
Okay.
My friend always said, if you're ever dizzy and in a fight, hit the thing in the middle.
Okay.
So I hit this one in the middle. Now, how much of a wine fan are you? And you don't have to make me feel good. Are you into it, not into it? You drink it once a year, once a day?
I drink it every day, a cup for supper. I don't know much about wine.
But you drink it daily?
Yes.
And do you cook with it often?
Yes.
And do you cook with what you drink?
No, because I think that
quality levels?
Yes, the price is like.
And you don't want to waste high. But do you feel some people that are very good friends of mine, really serious chefs, cook with pretty expensive wine? They feel like it brings value, and then others don't think it brings value. Where do you sit on if you're going to use a nice $7 Grenache or a $30 Grenache? That's much better. Do you feel like there's any value to use a $30 Grenache in cooking a very serious deal, or do you think it gets lost?
I think it gets lost,
yeah.
And it doesn't pay. But
dollar for dollar is not a good investment.
I don't think so. Yes, but if you open a bottle of wine now and then, you always get like the last part of it, that is 4 days open, is not good for drinking, and it's perfect for cooking.
Got it.
So that's what I do.
Okay, so one thing I think you guys should all know at home is that I'm very passionate about the nose. This, what I call the snippy sniff. It's very important to me. I think people really need to snippy sniff more. I think that, especially when you're tasting blind, it gives an opening into where you're going. For me, what I'd be looking for is it massively oaky? Is it not? You know, this, for example, on the nose, I think gets a really nice dustiness, like a dust, like a chalk on the nose that I like quite a bit. And there's a little bit of like red fruit, more like a sour cherry and a strawberry more than dark fruit. There's also a little hint of creaminess. So right away I'm like, okay, maybe there's some oak in here. How much? And I do feel, interestingly enough, a little bit of chocolate on the nose as well.
What happens to me is that I don't find most of the things you say, but when you suggest them, they come to me. Okay.
Just check on the chocolate. That came to me pretty powerfully at the end there. Like on the tail end, like a shaved chocolate, you know? Because it's like dusty. Very interesting. Okay, let's give it a whirl.
I'll drink it through.
I know I spit. Really dark tannins. For your palate, is the bitterness good or bad?
I think this, I don't know if you say alcohol, but I feel it
on the back,
hard.
right?
Yes.
The heat, hot. Yeah, and there is definitely some alcohol, and the tannins are quite difficult. They're very bitter. Almost has a little bit like a black tea flavor. You know?
I find it.
It's funny. I like the fruit, and it's very jammy. You know, in the middle, on the mid palate. But the finish, I agree with you, is a little too hot, a little disjointed. I'm gonna guess that it's a little bit younger. And so I think it's got some upside along the way. And it's a little bit, I have a term, it's called half pregnant. Can you convert it to people who, I want them to know what it is if they don't know what half pregnant is.
Medio embarazado. What do you mean by that?
You see his face. I knew, because it's a little bit old world and a little bit new world.
Okay.
It's like, it doesn't know who it is. It's like a teenager. Okay. You know, it doesn't know yet. Not a child, but not a grown-up. It's like my mom said about her language. She said, I lost Russia and I never found English.
Okay.
You know, and caught. This wine is caught in the middle.
Okay.
All right?
Interesting.
Let's move on. I liked his reaction when the half pregnant. I know it's going to be good. All right, let's rinse.
Okay.
So what?
Envinar, we say that.
What's that?
Envinar.
Envinar. Very nice, envinar. And what's the most famous episode of yours? How many shows have you done?
140.
140. What is the most famous one?
The first one.
Yeah? No way.
Yes, because people find me looking for recipes, not looking for me. It's not like, it's like if you were found like...
You're right, it's about Chateau Latour instead of me, right? I see. And so what's the first one you did on what?
Tortilla de patata, which is a classic. It's a potato omelette.
Sure.
So that is very successful because everyone is looking for that. How do I do a tortilla de patata?
Brilliant.
And I get...
First thing I notice is this wine's even darker a little bit than the last wine, which you always want to look at color. All right, how about the snippy sniff?
Nothing to do with the other one.
No, this is much more fruit, much bigger, inky. You know, this makes me think of like the new regions in Spain and Portugal, kind of, you know, like it has the nose of like a Toro, you know, that kind of style, that big bright fruit that I like so much. But it's also got a little bit of like you know.
I find it hard to concentrate on the wine and the camera and you.
It's no problem. Let's do it. It's not that bad. It smells a little bit like the soil. Has very ground, you know, dirt smell to it.
That must be a Riola then.
It's funny. That's what I think about when I smell something like that. When I smell, and that's what you do. That's why if you want to really know wine, much more in the smell than in the palate. A lot is given away in the color and the nose, not just the palate. It's a very inky wine. It feels like somebody took paint and stuck a paintbrush in my mouth. Tell him that. I want to see his reaction.
Como si se hubiera comido un bolígrafo, básicamente.
You know, so, but that's what it does, right? It takes over your entire palate. Very inky. This is difficult to have with food. For you, this would be very difficult wine to pair with. Outside a big meal, you know, like a bear, you know, just like big meat. But other than that,
it's difficult to pair.
It's not delicate. It would overpower most food, which is kind of, you know, what concerns me about wines like this. But on the flip side, it does have a delicious factor. It just tastes good.
It's good,
right? And you can drink it by itself.
Mm-hmm. You don't need to eat with it.
No. You like this style?
Yes. They are doing research. I wrote an article in The Economist that they are finding out how red wine is pairing with fish.
Yeah.
It's because of the iron. If it has iron, it pairs good. Which
is why so many Beaujolais pair so well. It's rich in iron in that area. Interesting. I love if you want to pair red wine with fish, Gamay. The Gamay grape is just a great place to go. I like this wine. I'm a little bit scared of it. It's a little too over the top for me, but it's very good. I'll give you a good example of how I think of this wine. If I was buying for my store in New Jersey in America, the wine library, I would buy this wine because so many of you would like it.
Okay.
If I was drinking for myself, I'm not sure.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right. And let's rinse one more time. So the first episode, huh?
Yes.
For me, it was episode 148.
Why?
Because what I did was I went to the supermarket and bought a lot of food and did a wine tasting reverse. I tasted fruits and blackberry and grass And I showed people what I did when I was little, growing up, how I expanded my palate.
And it still is?
I still do it once in a while. Yeah, I mean, I eat a lot of fruit. You know what I do every year? I go to a flower show, and I smell the flowers, because flowers are such a big part of the bouquet in wine. And so that was so you're getting very close to episode 148. So maybe you should think about doing something special so everybody watches.
That's special.
Okay, this is wine number 3.
Okay. A friend told me that you have to smell it first of all without moving, and then move it.
Well, you know, it's an interesting point. First of all, just so you all know, you don't have to do anything.
Okay.
Tell them that.
No hay nada que hacer, haz lo que tú prefieras, lo que más te guste, whatever you want.
You don't. Now, what's important though is that if you smell it still, and then you smell it after you swirl, you'll learn. Because it's amazing how different it smells. It opens up. Now this one is by far the most strawberry candy. This smells like ganache, you know? It smells like candy. You can smell the sweetness.
Brown sugar.
That's a good one, actually. Yes. Yes. I do get a lot of very creamy and oaky. This is the most over-oaked wine of the bunch. For me, this is when I go,
okay.
The oak monster. That's what this is a little bit for me. Tell the oak monster.
El monstruo del roble, ¿no? El monstruo del roble. Cuando hay demasiado roble.
Yeah, it's bad. Ni en seriously. So it feels like I'm taking toothpicks out of my mouth, you know, and so.
Astillas de la lengua.
But there's a lot of people that like this. You may like this style. You like the last one. This takes it a little further. This may still be in your wheelhouse. Do you like it?
I do like it, but I prefer the other one.
The middle one.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, so for me, I would rank them. The first two are very close for me. Let's see. Let me see this one more time. And you know what's funny? The third one, believe it or not, so the third wine is either the most expensive or the least expensive.
Okay. That's funny.
And I'll tell you why. A lot of big wineries spend a lot of money on new oak.
Okay.
New French oak barrels. And it gets over oaked. There's a lot of wines I taste that are $150 that I can taste them and I'm like, this is either $150 or $12, nothing in between. Which is what's really hurt the premium wine business. So I think this is the least expensive wine.
You have the ticket there.
Oh, I do? Okay, we'll look in a minute. Because it's thinner, you know, but I like it with food because it's easy drinking. This would probably be the wine that I would most drink for my palate. I like the subtleness. I like that I could have it with cheese, with fish, with steak. Maybe steak's a little too big for this wine, but I would guess that this was the least expensive and that probably the middle. So I would say this is how they price. This is how they price. And ironically, this is probably how I like them.
Backwards.
Well, no, I like them this way. This is the third one. So 1, 2, 3. These are very close to me, but these are probably closer in price.
Okay. Open up.
Okay.
The prices were.
So let's find out. So this wine.
It's open from here, I think. Okay. Let me guess. Well, the other one.
By Gordy, Bianca, 04. 04 is a vintage I like a lot because it wasn't too hot.
And a Rioja. That's as far as I go.
The Priorat.
The Priorat.
Right, number 2. Which
We
was
say
the third
right.
one. Which was the third one. The Priorat. Yes.
Okay, so I
Yes.
failed.
Yes, that was the third one.
And I'm from Tarragona, which is Priorat.
Which is why, you know, and I told you there's a lot of fruit. That's what's going on with Priorat. They're very, you know.
And that's a Ribera del Duero.
The Pago, yeah, this is a very good producer. Okay, and so
we don't have Matt here to zoom in.
Matt is at home.
He was very kind and very useful.
Very good. So
they were priced like Unholy, which is the priorat, was $8.50. Pago de los Capellanes was priced $8.90,
right,
which is a Ribera del Duero.
So I picked the most expensive.
Y Baigorri is $9.95, which is a Rioja. That's where we are.
That is exactly where we are. So interesting. You know, in the States, I bet you the Priorat would be the most expensive wine, even though it's less here, because the brand of Priorat is higher in the States and probably could command more money. But very different wines. And as you can see, my palate is going to go towards food-friendly wines, and that's what Rioja does more so than Priorat, though Priorat's so fun to drink by itself, you know? Okay. And I mean, these are the three classic areas of the world. But it was very obvious, you know, I'm not smart, I could have really impressed the crowd. It was very obvious to me, if I had a bet, I would have gotten the last wine as being, you know, because it was the biggest, like I said, that big Grenache, you know, you could taste it. And the Rioja was the most subtle and old world. But all three, you know, nothing for nothing, all three wines were quite strong. And you know me well, and you know me very well. I mean, I would say if it was crap, I would say it in 2 seconds. I'd be happy to. And the Priorat did push my limits of the Oak Monster, but I really enjoyed this.
Okay, I'm very happy.
Thank you, thank you. Did you have fun?
Yes, I'm very happy. Bye. Hasta luego.